Hey everyone, welcome back to another higher time frame analysis for the S&P 500 and Nasdaq future indices. Sorry I wasn't able to put out a video last week, but I'm going to make it up to you guys by doing something special today. So in my last video, 2 weeks ago, someone in the comment had addressed concern for their Bitcoin investment. So today I'll be taking a look at the Bitcoin chart and giving you my analysis and my perspective. Now, let me remind you, I'm not a financial advisor and I don't give out financial advice. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Everything I say in here is my personal opinion. Please don't use it to make a trade on your own with real money. So, August is over, September has begun. So, we'll be looking at the monthly chart for all of the indices today. And we're going to start here on the dollar index. So, for weeks, you've heard me say, and I'll just reiterate real quickly, prices traded down into the monthly BTC, and we'll be looking for higher prices into this monthly inefficiency here. Now, if you look at the monthly inefficiency from this candle's low to this candle's high, that's the actual inefficiency, but the red box here is the inefficiency that I refined down into a weekly chart. So you'll see that on the weekly chart. And then to the left here, we have a little volume imbalance, and it overlays pretty much in the middle of that inefficiency. So should price go above our monthly volume imbalance target here, I'll be looking for price to drive up into this volume imbalance. So let's take a look at the weekly chart to see how price has been performing. So here you see how I refined this down on the weekly for this SIBI here. And the volume balance on the monthly goes pretty much right in the middle of it. But before we get there, this volume balance down here is where I'll be targeting in the short term. And we see here we have a nice weekly wick. I labeled 50% of that the consequent encroachment, or CE. And price hasn't reached there just yet, but I anticipate price to reach into it, go through it, reach into the volume imbalance here, and close above here. But we'll have to wait till next week to see what the weekly candle will look like. What I want to see is closure above the volume imbalance. Should that happen, then I'll be looking for these higher targets up here. Now, if price just wicks into it and then comes down close below here, below the C of the wick, then I think, okay, maybe price will probably retrace down a little bit. And lower key levels, we have this wick, we have the CE, or this tail rather, we have the CE of this tail, and we have a small BTC that price had already traded to before and rejected. So I would want to see both of these levels act as support. And then below here, we have that weekly SIBI. This will be my last line of defense on the weekly chart. But let's take a look at the daily, see if we glean any more information here. So zooming in, this is the volume imbalance on the monthly that we're looking for. And here we have that weekly SIBI, that weekly consequent encroachment on the wick. And right on top of it, we have a daily volume imbalance. So this lends pretty well for price to reach up into that CE. Now, if we look closer, we see that we had already reached into the daily volume imbalance and we rejected it. Price came back up and traded above the previous day's close. So this is a good bullish sign for price to reach higher, but if we see more resistance from the daily volume balance, we have a daily BTC below us. If price retraces down there, I want to see this daily BTC act as support, launching price higher once it retraces. I don't want to see it broken. Now, if it does break, then I'll be looking for this old daily SIBI here in red to act as support. And this will be my last line of defense for price not going lower. If price closes below the red SIBI here, then I'll think, okay, price will probably reach for the swing low here to take out some liquidity. But more than likely, I want to see price trade into the BTC, and use it as support to launch price higher into the monthly volume imbalance. Here we have the S&P September contract on a monthly chart. And we see we have a monthly inefficiency here, a BTC, and marked by the green lines. And then I have two purple lines. The dark purple here will be the midpoint of that BTC. And then I have a lighter purple, which is going to be 25% of that BTC. On the monthly, there's really no significance, but when we get down to the weekly, you'll see why I have this labeled out as well. So because I'm bullish on the dollar index, I want to see bearishness in the S&P. But so far, because in August we traded down to half of the BTC and then we went up and closed above it, that's a bullish sign. Then September, now September, we've only traded for 1 week, but we have the tail here in August, and I marked down the consequent encroachment of that tail. Price went down, tapped it, and then went and closed above it. Now, technically it hasn't closed because this is September. It's only been traded for 1 week. So we'll have to go down to the weekly to see how price is going to perform. Okay, so jumping into the weekly chart, it looks very busy. So let me just slowly point out the price levels that I'm looking at. Hopefully you can follow me along. First, let's take a look at the orange and red lines here. The red one is going to be a weekly SIBI. Price has reached into it and then retraced down. So I want to see this remain strong as resistance. The orange here, we have an old weekly BTC here that I want to see used as an inversion fair value gap. So even though these 2 weeks, the candle wick above and into the SIBI here, look at the bodies. They both are within that old BTC. So I want to see the BTC here act as an inversion fair value gap. I don't want to see price go above here. It could reach into it one more time, but I want to see this defend price from going higher. Then if you look at the green line here, we have the monthly BTC level, and then we have those two purple lines. Now remember, the darker purple is 50%, and that's where the August low was as well. You just tapped it, but you see where it closed? It closed at 25% of that BTC. And then the next month, or the next week rather, it opened around that same level. And then it pretty much stayed above on the upper portion of that BTC. So because it stayed in the upper portion, this looks like a bullish sign to me. It was bullish on the monthly. On the weekly here, it was bullish, rallied up into the imbalance here, and then it retraced down. So we're kind of stuck between these resistance levels and these support levels here. So remember, my original target was price to reach down into this imbalance here. And let me just remove this line to clean it up a little bit. Okay, so remember, my original target was down here into this imbalance. So right now we're just kind of stuck in a range here between the resistance here. Unless we can see price show evidence of closing below the CE, below the volume imbalance, then I will want to see price reach for the sell side below the swing low and eventually into our weekly BTC here. So let's look at the daily to see if we can find any evidence of it breaking out. Okay, so here we have the daily chart, and just to clear things up, here's the orange level I want to see as the inversion fair value gap. The red is the SIBI. I want to see that as strong resistance. We have these two inefficiencies here. This is where I want to see price reach down into. I'll just zoom out a bit to show you that this is the weekly imbalance that weekly BTC that I want to see price reach down into. I went ahead and took out the monthly lines just to clean this up and not have too much confusion. So last week we had price reach into the SIBI and then it went down into this inefficiency here. It did fill it all the way, but then it closed within it. So until it can break out of this, we're kind of range bound between, I want to say, this inefficiency here. We have a daily SIBI, and then we have a larger daily SIBI here that already got traded into a little bit. Now it could get traded to even more, but the upper one here, I don't want to see this one filled. It could trade halfway into it, and then I want to see it reject. I want to see it reject strongly below this swing low and below these swing lows down here. So I want a daily candle. I just put this together here. I want a daily candle just to show you what I'm looking for. I don't want to see price go down below here with a wick and then close back up. I want to see a daily candle that shows strong bearishness by going down and closing below the BISI here, below the 50% of that monthly wick, monthly tail. If I see this on the daily, then I will be looking for lower prices below this swing low, below this swing low, and seeing if price can reach down into the inefficiency that I was originally looking for. Now let's take a look at Nasdaq. Here we have the September contract on the monthly chart. Price went up, went down into the BISI here, and then we have September, which only has been traded for a week. So again, I denoted the CE of August's tail. Price hasn't reached there, but I want to anticipate price going through it. And I didn't mark out the BISI here, but ideally I want to see price close below here and not give this BISI much respect. And then I will be wanting to see price reach into the inefficiency here. We got this old high, which runs right into this BISI here. So I want to see price reach for this old high. Looking at the weekly chart, you can see that this candle I marked out as an order block. I have the close of it marked out as the weekly order block, and I even marked out the mean threshold here. So we saw price wick above into the order block and then close below. So this is a good sign to see that this is going to be a resistance level. Then we have the monthly tail, the CE of it. And like I said, I want to see price go below here and close strongly below. And we have a volume balance here. Ideally, I want to see it close below the volume balance as well. Then I'll be looking for price to come take out the swing low here. And we had an old volume balance. So I wanted to see price reach down into that and into the monthly imbalance here. If you look at the monthly imbalance, the monthly BISI, there's two weekly BISIs within it. There's a larger one in the upper portion, which I think price can reach down into, and then it may have some sort of a retracement. But ideally, I want to see price reach for the lower weekly imbalance. And this is because if you look at the monthly BISI as a range, half of that range below 50%, we want to view that as discount. And above, we want to view as premium. So in the discount level, we have a weekly BISI. So if we have institutions selling up here, they will want to cover at a discount price. So when we get into the BISI, this will be a good discount price for them to cover. So I do want to see price reach down into this lower BISI. But remember, the upper BISI could provide some retracement, so be aware of that. Go down to the daily chart. Remember, this is the monthly imbalance with the weekly BISIs that we were looking for. I'm going to zoom in to the recent price action. We have that weekly order block. You see, we have 3 days where price wicked above it, but none of the bodies dared to close above it. So we can see this as resistance. Price went down and created a daily SIBI, and is currently trading into the daily BISI here, this large daily BISI. So like the ES, Nasdaq is kind of in a range until we see price break below this BISI and close strongly below, and ideally close below this consequent encroachment and below the volume balance here. Should we see strong closure below, then I'll be looking for the sell side liquidity below the swing low and the swing low. And I want to see the weekly order block act as resistance And this SIBI here, we could retrade into it. We could even fill it. That's completely fine. But I want this order block to remain intact. And I don't want to see price trade above this swing high either. Now, if it does, we do have the mean threshold of that order block. I don't want to see any closure above that mean threshold. It could wick into it, but then I want to see immediate rejection for lower prices. Okay, I said I was going to do something special for you guys. Here we got the Bitcoin chart pulled up, the Bitcoin futures on the monthly. Now, before I get into it, I just want to say that I don't own any Bitcoin, and I don't really look at the cryptocurrencies either. So remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving out financial advice. I'm just giving you my opinion and my analysis based solely on the charts. I don't know anything about Bitcoin, but I will look at the price action and give you my opinion. Okay, so take it as it is, but please don't use it to make a trade for yourself. So if we look at the monthly here, price rallied up in 2021, went down and then rallied higher, taking out the buy side liquidity. Price went lower, created a SIBI, which it traded back into just barely. So this is going to be institutional or order flow entry drill. So institutions are selling at these prices. So you can feel confident that these prices here are going to be defended. Price drops sharply, creating another SIBI. And we know this pattern: high, low, higher high, lower low with displacement, right? This is going to create a breaker pattern. So I'm using this candle here as the breaker. And within the breaker, we have that SIBI. So this area here, price could retrace back into it, but I would not be expecting price to retrace higher than here. I want to see this level here as resistance. Should price go into it, this will be a good price to be selling or shorting, and we'll be looking for lower prices. Here we have sell side below the swing low, sell side here. This is what we can be looking for should price drop sharply from this area, let's say around the, I guess we'll just say between 33,000 and 38,500. Dropping below, and then we'll be looking for price to take out the low here at 15,910. Way back, we have two relative lows, and that's marked out as 9,265. So if price shows extreme bearishness below the sell side here, we could be looking for price to make an all-time low, or I don't know if it's all-time low, but from what I see in the chart, low below these relative lows. So let's go into the weekly and take a look. So remember, this is the breaker, and here is that monthly SIBI, and we'll just zoom in a little bit. So price could retrace back up to here. We're kind of in a consolidation at the moment for the last 6 months or so. Price went up into the breaker, went down about halfway of this weekly BISI. Price went back up and just barely swept above the high here, retraced back down and swept the low down here. Created a weekly SIBI, traded into it and away from it. And then last week was pretty much indecisive. Now we have this weekly SIBI. This could defend price from going higher and reaching for this inefficiency here. So if we see price, I don't know if price is going to come back up into this area, but if it does and we see another rejection, we could see price take out the low here and the low here. And should price close below this weekly BISI, I would say that it's not going to reach back up into this area again. If price closes below the BISI, we can see this BISI be used as an inversion fair value gap to push price below the sell side here and the sell side here. Now what's going to change my mind is if price goes up and closes above the SIBI here, the weekly SIBI, and ideally this green candle, if the price can close above the green candle here, the high being 30,420, if price can close above there, then we can see price reach to take out the buy side liquidity above these highs and reach for the inefficiency here on the monthly. Maybe halfway, so close to 36,000-ish. We also see a volume imbalance here, the high being 35,310. So if price could take out this candle and reach up here, I would say this will be a nice target to sell some Bitcoin or for shorting, because remember, this is a monthly breaker with a monthly SIBI. So I would expect price, should it reach up there, it's going to come down looking for lower targets below these lows, below the sell side here. Now let's take a look at the daily. So we have the daily zoomed in at the most recent price action. Remember, this red line is going to be that monthly SIBI inside the monthly breaker. We see price drop sharply and left a void here, and we have a weekly SIBI. Now, we saw price go up about halfway of that SIBI and then went back down. So this is a bearish sign right here. One candle up, one candle down. I can see this area here as a balanced price range. It's already balanced, so no more reason to really go up and reach above it. So, but anything could happen if price does reach above it. And remember that weekly up candle, then you know I'm looking for price to go above these highs here. But right now, it's looking bearish. It's not looking like it should go above this level here. So I expect this weekly SIBI to be used as resistance. And we even have a daily SIBI here that I didn't mark out, but it aligns well with a daily BISI on the other side. So this creates a balanced price range. I expect price to drop down low to see if it could take out the weekly BISI low here. If price can close below here, then I'll be looking for this void to be rebalanced. And since it's so close to the sell side here, might as well just go and sweep the sell side and into this old imbalance here. Price could retrace, and then eventually I'll be looking for lower prices below the sell side here. So that's my opinion for Bitcoin. And thank you all for watching this video. Please give me a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, and also let me know if there's something else you want to see out of my videos. But until next week, be safe.